All right. Let's do it. A human. Yes. A mortal. You've come to play a game. Oh, I like games, mortal. But I warn you, any who play games with the likes of me are doomed to lose everything. And the stakes could not be higher. Who am I? Ah, mortal. You should know better than to ask questions for which you have no possibility to understand the answer. But I like you, human. So we shall say I've gone by many names, many faces. Some of them a bit overwrought, a bit dramatic. But enough about me. Let's just say, given the circumstances, we'll call me the Game Master. Yes, yes. The Game Master. But to play, I need to know who you are. Perhaps you are wretched royalty with the whole world in your lap. Or clergy standing at your altar barking orders, and yet you do nothing but indulge the most base heresies. Or are you a philosopher, piercing through the veil of knowledge? Have you reached the truth yet, philosopher? It's all empty. Are you a hermit? Do you live alone? Do you tell people? You choose to do so. Don't worry, hermit. I'll keep your secrets as you keep all of your esoteric secrets. But maybe you are one with no secrets. Perhaps you are one who seeks ancient rites, manipulations of flora, and the fluids of fauna, coming up with potions, tinctures. Is that right, Occult Herbalist? Have you elixir to life yet? Or have you found that the only elixir that gives succor for life is death? Are you a coward? A deserter? Someone who has sunk their greedy fangs into the pleasures of the world, forsaking your vows and loyalties? Fanged deserter. No. All of these would be too good for you. I think you're nothing more than scum. Yes, scum. Born in the gutter. It matters not, for this is you now, and this will be you at the end. The calendar of Necrobell awaits you, whoever you are. Each day, the calendar tolls. Will it ring just the right way to reveal a psalm, to open a seal, to bring us one step closer to our inevitable end? We shall see, whoever you are. Hello everybody, it's me, Man Alone, and we're going to play some Mörk Borg solo, okay? And to do that, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to figure out our character, and we're going to pick out maybe some pieces for our player. Maybe we'll get to use our delve deck if we go into a dungeon. We'll try to keep it simple. I don't think we will do the portents of the degloved hand this time. And I think what we're going to do is try the, rather than doing the Fate Mill, which we may switch to that if it seems like a good choice. But in Solitary Defilement, remember that this solo system for Mörk Borg uses a strong hit, weak hit, fail system. Iron Sworn powered by the apocalypse type thing. So we can try that. I think we'll see how that goes. And I think... Oh, it's so hot. I'm taking off my sweater. I was wearing a sweater. I don't know if that changes your opinion of me. I think in terms of the calendar of Necrobell, for Solitary Defilement, usually what you do, much like Iron Sworn, right, is we're going to choose a sort of a difficulty level or a length level. I don't know how many sessions there will be. It might be just this one, but I think we'll try to do depressing. We may not finish that. We probably won't finish that in this session. If we carry on further, we can continue on the same mission. I am getting some Mörk Borg related products very soon in the mail. And the method for determining if one of the psalms is read, rather than rolling the D20 or the D100 or whatever it was and getting a 1, this would be a DR12. So as long as we roll over the DR12, then it would not be a psalm. And that would be kind of, it would determine the how often there's going to be one of these psalm effects that are added to the game. And then these boxes represent the milestones. I think the best way to think of these, this isn't exactly right, but the best way to think of these would be like quests. If you've played a game like GTA, Red Dead Redemption, Fallout, things like that, you have these quests, and as you complete them, you sort of complete the milestone.
In Ironsworn Starforge, there's a system of like if you could have like a step within the milestone, so it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think we're going to do that, but we'll find out what kind of milestones we have, because we'll roll up a start to the game in just a second. And there'll be parts of this that I don't know how much I'll use them. I'm kind of going to be flying around a couple different resources, because I just think that the overland travel system in Ferratory does so much legwork in terms of providing the daily, pretty much the daily routine. And then you can kind of go into dungeons or go into towns. And I have lots of resources in my GM board, and as well as the additional inserts, which I have clipped in front of me, but those show things like 40 events that could happen in a city, different traps, stuff like that. But the best tool, I think, or I guess like the best, tool is the right thing to say, in Solitary Defilement, is just the daily travel grind, right? So each day we roll the calendar of Necrobell, we roll the weather, we roll what type of road it is, before we do that, we decide, are we going to travel closer to where we're going, or are we going to resupply either by hunting or by foraging, whatever. And then we kind of proceed each day like that. And at the end of the day, we do a camping roll, whatever comes up, we resolve those encounters. And I have to say, it is a really tight, nice, well-oiled system that we're going to have here. And the danger is not getting lost in this, or not knowing what to do next. But actually, I've found, as I've done a couple practice runs here, is that the danger is it can become mechanized. Like I have to remember that I'm role playing, because sometimes I'll just like roll, and then go to the table, and then the next table, roll on that table, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I have to like be creating something here, which is a good thing though, especially if you are a little bit new to solo play. That can be a really good system for you to get used to. I don't think we're going to use Heretic very much. I don't think I'm going to be including the characters in this. There was one thing in here that I might take under, and that is if I go into the, if we look at the map, if I head into the Valley of the Unfortunate Undead, I might roll up this graveyard and go through this as a graveyard, but we shall see. So that'll be the only thing that I think is not, we could also use unheroic feats. This is a sort of narrative advancement system, but I think what we'll do, just to make sure that we're scaling and that we're able to keep playing, because this is a pretty brutal game, is I think we'll just use the advancement rules as laid out here in the Getting Better section. Anything else to mention before we begin? There's some micro crawls. I'm not really going to use the sheets on here. What I'm going to use instead, just so that I know that I really like using my paper thing, but again, this is like a character that I just rolled up. It's just hard to see on camera. And then I tried to make one that was like a bigger representation of it, but it was too hard, like using pencil and stuff. So I'm going to just use the online fillable character sheet. When we're done, when we figure out who our character is, I will take a moment to kind of fill that in and come back. But like I said in the beginning intro, which I hope that wasn't too agonizing or grating, but what we'll do is I think we're going to I'll fill that in just so you don't have to sit around as I type things in, and then we'll just find a starting spot. We'll find some things that are motivating our character, and see where we are, see where we're going, etc., and we'll go from there. So yeah, let's see. Okay, so this was the last practice character I used, was Nefel. This was fun. So what I'm going to do is I'll just scan through these characters, and when I get to the first one that has an HP of 6 or more, and again, the reason for that is it's just as I played some practice games and I had like some characters with an HP of 1 or 2 or even 4, it was just not working. I was just dying really, really quickly. I could very well die with the 6 HP as well, so let's give it a shot. And just so we know, the other things that I may be using are the dungeon generator. All of these are on Mörk Borg. I think Mörk Borg. There's links to these on the Mörk Borg resource website, which I can't remember. And then there's also this like monster approaches thing as well. 2 things. Obviously, we have the character sheet. The other thing that I found, and this is a resource that is on, it's free on, I believe, itch.io. I'll link to it. But this person condensed every single base rule of Mörk Borg into 2 sheets, and it couldn't be clearer. There was another one floating around for a while that was good, but it had a little too much flavor for just starting. It definitely worked for me, but for someone just starting, it like kept with the sort of obscure Mörk Borg phrasing. And so I think if you're just starting, this one is really good. It's called The Condensed Scripture by Vandal Arden, and it even has some optional rules involving cover and hits always hurt, which we'll see if we'll use that one. I haven't decided yet if that's good for solo play, but I do like this aiming one. You can spend 1 round aiming to get a -2 difficulty rating or a +2 to damage. So I may be referencing that at times, but right now we'll just roll up the first character with an HP of over 6. So let's give it a try. Okay. So I've never played as an occult herb master. So let's, I'm going to take a moment to fill this in, and then when I come back, we'll take a look at the character sheet and I'll do a bit of an introduction, but just so that I'm on record here, not, oh boy, this character has some swings here in terms of, abilities. So this could be really interesting. Got a whip, a water skin. So some decoctions, portable laboratory. Got nice HP, but I'm very worried about that strength and presence right there. So, all right, you know what? It's Mörk Borg. We'll do our best, and yeah, be right back after I fill this sheet in. Okay, so a couple of executive decisions. I am going to do the rule of minimum 1 damage unless a person's or foe's HP is at 1. Okay, but because the 2 stats used for melee attack is strength and ranged attack is presence, and if I have a -3 in both of those, I feel as though combat could take forever, and so we'll see how that goes. I think that's the right decision, and I'll be fair by applying it to my attacks as well as when I am attacked. I also have no armor, and I have, but I do have 9 hit points. That should be pretty good, but those can go pretty fast. Now, the one thing the Occult Herbalist does have, oops, I have 1 omen, forgot to write that, is I have this mobile laboratory. And each day I can roll on that twice. And it's a D8. And I would roll the D8 twice. So example, I would have the red poison and a Hyphos's enervating snuff. And the way that I'm just going to track that so that I can show everybody here, although now I'm regretting that because I think I put it under here, but I did tape this down, is like, since I roll that every day, I'm just going to try to use these like beads to say which one those are, because I'm probably going to have to rely on those potions a lot to try and survive. I'm going to have to, here I put just some dice that I'll be using. And let me see if there's any way that I could potentially move this here a little out of the way. Is that better? Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. I don't know exactly. This is one thing that I think is a little difficult is some of the gear in Mörk Borg. Well, it's not necessarily difficult, but it only says like how much it costs, or how much you can sell it for, I suppose, as well. And it doesn't necessarily say what the grappling hook does, but that's okay. I could probably figure out, repelling, maybe getting up a place or something like that. So I'll probably have to do a presence check to go up or down, and then decide on a difficulty rating for that. So the difficulty rating standard is going to be 12. And I guess the only thing that using the solitary defilement system, the only thing we kind of miss on this is when I roll 2d20 and I, say the DR is 12, right? And so I roll 14 and 2. So that's a weak hit, which is one of the things that you'll get most of the time. You succeed, but less well, or with some other unintended consequence. There's a whole section on managing weak hits here that I very much appreciate. The problem with this system, and in fact, I'm going to put this, I'm going to mute this because it's going to be loud. The problem with this is there's no crit here, because if I roll a 1, but I only roll one of them as a 1, then it's a weak hit. And so it's still a weak hit if one of them is over. And so I can say that if both dice fail, that is a fail, but it doesn't account for a catastrophic failure. And I certainly can't say, it's only a catastrophic failure when both die are rolled as 1. But that is just like really never going to happen. And in attacks and defense, a crit, a natural 20, and a fumble, natural 1 are pretty important, I would say. And there should be, a 1 in 20 chance of that. And so I think what I'm going to say is that, and we'll see how this goes. Because I'm starting to wonder here if it's even worth doing this system, the Ironsworn system, when just using a D20 and then just saying, whatever I roll here is a weak hit, strong hit, crit, whatever. To me, it feels like pointless. But we're gonna try it out just so that we can play with as suggested here to get the solitary defilement experience. And I guess what I'll say is, if I roll a weak hit, okay, which one is, okay, those are pretty easy to see. If both dice fail and at least one of them is a 1, that is a crit fail. And if I roll a strong hit and at least one of them is a 20, that is a crit success, okay? And then I guess if both are 20s or both are 1s, then I have to really think of something pretty severe. Now, one of the things that's a little difficult given my limited play area, which I'm kind of trying to literally just like bully some of this stuff out of the way here, is I probably am going to be using all 3 of these books. Solitary Defilement, as well as Ferratory reference this book very often, the core book. And I don't see a good way that I'm just not going to... Even with the GM screen and the shortened thing, I'm going to have to refer back and forth, especially for overland travel, as I am going to be sort of running through the checklist here. Hopefully over time that gets easier. And just a little bit of a final PSA before I go. This final page, right before the back cover of Mörk Borg, this is like almost every direction you need to play. Like this is almost enough right here. Okay. The biggest things are going to be checking enemy morale, looking at the reaction to villains if we meet them in the wild, especially wild animals. We're not going to have to worry about scrolls because my guy is not using a scroll. I have no armor, although I'll hopefully get some, and we'll just do what we can. And another PSA is that enemies do not roll for hit success. They can roll for damage, but I will roll for initiative, which is like 1 to 3. They go first. 4 to 6. I go first. Or we could do it individually if there's a lot of enemies with agility plus D6. And then I roll either, if say I'm attacking first, I'll roll either strength or presence, depending if I do melee or ranged. And then when they attack, I roll against my agility to see if I dodge or not. And if I don't, I get hit. If I have armor on, I take that much armor, that much away from the defense. And if there is a crit, this is why you need a crit, against me, then my armor loses a tier and it will have to be repaired. And if it's already on the lowest tier, it will be destroyed. Okay. My 1, 2, 3. I think a final executive decision I'm going to make is I am not going to worry about water. I'm going to account for food. I just don't want to be like doing too much accounting. And then I'm going to give myself a shield just to keep the party going. Now, for a shield, all that means is that once during combat, if I use a shield, it is -1 damage. Okay. And I can choose, and actually that would go in the other weapon hand. And at some point I can use -1 damage. And if I want to, I can have the shield break once to ignore all damage from an attack. And I just think, just in case in my first encounter, I get like an obliterating blow. Okay. So that was my 1 PSA that turned into 5 PSAs. But I think we're ready to go. So let's put on a little bit of ominous music. A little too intense. We'll do Night Forest. Okay. So first things first, on the inside book, we're going to check the weather. And actually, it says that I have a rare sought after item. And so I'm going to use this D10 Occult Treasures table. I'm going to do a roll on that just to see what that rare thing I have is. 8. A silver bird cage slays whatever is placed behind its bars slowly over one long night. That which is killed reanimates twice as strong as a raging, uncontrollable undead. So that will be something that I would probably not use very often, but it is a sought after item, and maybe that will give a clue as to why this item is sought after. Maybe, or let me say, maybe that might come into the story. Okay, so let's just kind of, before we even set the scene and get on the road, what we'll do first is we will do a little bit of introduction in my character's voice, and then we're going to find out like who contacted us, where we are, and what's the spark for the adventure. Okay, so what I think we'll say is this will be, I was torn between these two for Occult Herbalist. Neither of them are exactly right. One of them might be, I think that this one is Wretched Royalty. I think this one is a Hermit. But now that I think of it, that could be the Hermit, and this could be the Occult Herbalist. That could be Gutterborn Scum. That one is definitely Fang Deserter. It says Fangs. So not this one, not this one, not this one. I actually think we'll go with this guy. That's good. All right. So we'll say, my name is Deiru, and I'm from the ruins of the Shadow King's manse, thick of memories of mushrooms and smoke. I was born of the mushroom. I was raised in the glade and watched by the eye of the moon in a silver-black pool. People say I'm ruthless, but I just say I'm shrewd. I know when a choice has to be made, and I make it. Don't look at me nose. I know about it. Red, swollen. It's 'cause I take to the drink. Do you know why? Because nothing matters. I'm a nihilist. And I don't care. I'll tell everyone why I don't believe in nothing. 'Cause there's nothing better to do. I got this here bird cage. It has an interesting way of killing. And then after it kills, it makes the thing kill. I heard that people want to get their hands on it. We'll see about that. Maybe I could put their hands inside of it, see what happens. I carry with me my trusty portable laboratory. I'm always looking for ingredients, every day at least, like clockwork. I make 2 decoctions. And got to use them within 24 hours. Or else they go bad. But that's no problem. There's always someone I can find to be sipping on what I make, or else I could be sipping on it myself. All I got right now is 1 day of food. Don't got much to defend myself other than these potions and my whip. But I do have this little medicine chest. Stops bleeding, infection, and heals a bit. And oh yeah, almost 80 silver and a grappling hook in case I need to get somewhere I'm not supposed to be. Now let's see. Someone's contacted me. A warrior that switched loyalties came to me last night. As I was wandering around the where's my damn D12? As I was wandering around in the poor Vastlan countryside. Where that is, I don't know. I'll figure it out. It's not important. This warrior came. They told me something. They said that there's an alchemist who needs a living goblin. I can find a living goblin. I love to take them in alive. Love to see the fear on their face. I tell them not to worry. There's no reason to fear. Nothing means anything anyways. Fear is just another emotion. I know it don't feel good, but maybe it's just because you haven't gotten used to it. That's what I tell them. Do they listen? No, they don't always listen.
But here I am in the Vaslan. And why don't we start out with this story told to me by this warrior whose name is Balsam. Balsam came to me last night. Came up to me when I was making a fire. I don't like when people do that. But he just started talking to me. As if it was no problem at all. Coming out of bloody nowhere. Saying things to me. Acting like I cared to listen. This chap, he was, how can I say? Leering, creepy. Sort of had a look about him. I started wondering, how is this fella a warrior? He doesn't even look like he can keep his back up straight. He said that before he was even a warrior, he was a musician and a poet. Fine, I said. So you got some poem to tell me about? And he said, aye, here in the wasteland, I've got a poem to tell you about. And this poem, he says, is about someone far with a short little list who calls himself an alchemist. He don't want nothing stone, nothing made of tin. He wants something fleshy, a goblin. He doesn't want it well fed. He wants it alive and not dead. Bring it to him in a bag and he'll tell you something pretty sad. But this sad little something is the truth of the world, and you might find something that'll make you hurl. And I said, I'm not much of a fan of making someone doing something that'll make me hurl. And he said, yeah, but maybe you hurl up some truth. And I said, go on then. Why are you sitting around bothering me? And so he went off on his creepy, leery little way. Before he left, I said, now, hey, listen. Where do you suppose this alchemist is, just in case I want to bring this goblin here and hear something that's scary, gonna make me hurl? Well, he says, oh, so you're interested, are you? Well, this guy, he hails from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can find him. He's the only alchemist. Shite. Why did I roll that? Where's me fucking... He's the only alchemist in the Valley of the Unfortunate Dead. You can find him there. But I heard there's some goblins outside of Schleswig, he says. Maybe you can take one of them there to do a little bit of an experiment. Fine, okay, so then. And off he went. Yeah, I thought about killing him, but I was tired. So I went to sleep. And that was it.
Okay, so hope you like my on-the-fly poem. Let's talk about this a little bit. So we have this weird, leery warrior who comes to Daru while he is, making camp. And this creepy warrior says, there's an alchemist, he's in the Valley of the Unfortunate Dead, and he wants a living goblin. And if you bring it to him, he'll tell you something that is sad and is going to make you hurl. Now, normally, nobody would be interested in this. But because my character is such a absolutely dedicated nihilist, this has piqued his interest because he loves knowing the truth, even if That truth makes you sad, makes you sick. And so what I think we're going to do is we're going to make that into our first, let's say, that'll be our first mission. That's not a very good card to use, kind of messy. All right, this is fine. So we have 4 of these milestones. So we have milestone 1 is bring Goblin to Alchemist in Valley of Unfortunate Dead. And the way that we're going to do that is probably, since we're, and you're not really able to see it on here for some reason, but it appears that the Vastland is between this little triangle of the Valley of the Unfortunate Dead, the Bergen Crypt, and the Schleswig. But just to make a little bit of an adventure out of it, let me just look at the map one more time just so that I have a good sense of it. So it looks like the Vastland is here, and the Valley of the Unfortunate Dead is here, and Schleswig is here. So just to give it a little bit of an interesting twist, we'll say that we're down here south Vastland, and maybe we'll make our way to Schleswig, see if we can get, you know, the 311, as they say, on some goblins, and then we'll head to the Valley of the Unfortunate Dead to see if we can find out this alchemist who's going to tell me something devastating. In terms of the Vastland, I don't know if I know too much about it, so I'm just seeing if there's anything really important that I need to know about it. I guess it would be on the part about Schleswig. Okay, the Western Kingdom. So that's the whole kingdom. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that makes more sense. So this whole section right here is Vastland. This whole bottom section here. So we need to, well, we don't need to, but this is where one point is in the Valley of the Unfortunate Dead. This is a roundabout where we might find something with these zombies. I'm in Galgenbach all the time. So what I think we'll say is that I'm going to start around Lake Onda, which is right here. And because the distance here is about the same from Schleswig to Galgenbach, a d6 plus 4, I think that this right here will be, it's a little bit shorter, so we'll say that this leg of travel is going to be Onda to Schleswig. This will be d6 plus 2, we'll say, days. All right, 4 plus 2, so that's 6 days. And then if we were to go from Schleswig to the Valley of the Unfortunate Dead, we'll probably follow the road. And so that would be, I can't really see that very well, but it's saying D10 plus 8 to Bergen Crypt and D8 plus 2 to Valley of the Unfortunate Dead. Let's just say that I could go this way, but if I went straight across, it would not be on a road. So whenever I roll roads, if I did that, I would do a -2 on the roads. So right now, we'll just do Onda to Schleswig, since we're 45 minutes in already, just to get something going here. And we'll see what happens from there. So, Solitary Defilement flow sheet once again. We're going to open to this just so we can visualize it all together. So let's roll the calendar of Necrubel, and that is going to be a d20 against DR12. 15, so no psalm today. And we're going to roll weather in the core book, which I think is right inside the front cover. Yep. And that's going to be a D12. 10. It's an irritating drizzle. And we're definitely going to travel today. And so the road right now, roll a D8 on that. It's a narrow wagon track used by farmers. And I will say that we'll just roll an event by the road since we're starting off on this road. And just so that I'm keeping track of the days right here, I'm going to just make some 6 squares to track each of the days, and when they're done, I'll check them off whenever I sleep at night. All right, so D20, we roll 3. Nothing particularly happens. The world is gray. Good. And just so we know, whenever I roll something italicized on here, I cross it out and can remake it. I may do that just very lightly on here, so I remember I could probably erase this. But yeah, so nothing really happens today. There's an irritating drizzle. I'm walking along this road, and I keep thinking, Lord, I have no idea what I'm doing. But then again, nobody does. They just trick themselves into thinking they do. Which, by the way, I forgot to roll the D8 here for these poisons. So let's see. We have 5. We have spider owl soup, and we have 1 red poison, and then you roll a D4, I believe. Let me just check. D4. It can brew a total of D4 doses. Okay, so I'm going to assume that means D4 doses together. Yeah, can brew a total of D4 doses. So we'll just roll D4 right here. We'll use this one. 2. So we'll say 1 of each. And I'll probably get more familiar with these, but the red poison, it is toughness DR12 or minus D10 HP. Okay, so I would give that poison, if somebody took it, they would have to exceed a toughness roll of DR12, or they would lose minus D10 HP. And then the other one being Spider Owl Soup, that allows me to see in darkness, climb on walls for 30 minutes. And if I don't use these in a day, they will expire. I'm not sure if I will be using these today. But I think other than that, we're just going to move on to the campsite. And that's a D12 here. 1 to 5 is a quiet night. Nothing really happens. So our first day is very uneventful. And I'm just going to roll again here for Elixir Vitalis, and we'll check that out if anything even comes up if we need it. D6 and Ferner's Filtree, and our D4 to see how many doses we have is 1. So I guess I'll have to decide which one that is. But I now need some food. So let's try foraging rather than hunting. We'll try hunting a little bit later because we do need some food, because I only had 1 day of food. And so actually I'm going to erase that from my list. Well, I'll just put 0 days of food so I don't have to rewrite it all. And let's see. So spending a day foraging is a D6. So I go off the road, and I know that like if I look around there, I can probably not only find something for eating, but also try to find ingredients for my mobile laboratory. I'm always on the lookout for that. And I roll a 3. I find D6 plus 3 rations of good food. So that's great. So a d6 plus 3. Oh, perfect. Rolled a 6. So d6 plus 3. So that's going to be 9 days of food. That's wonderful. Did forget to roll on the calendar of Necrobell. Let's just do that really quick. So we do roll a 6. And so that is going to be one omen is going to, or I'm sorry, not one omen, one psalm is going to be levied. And I suppose if there's not too much excitement early game here as the as the psalms accrue, it's almost I don't know, it's like that game in college where you keep going around and making more and more rules, and then by the end of the game it's just sort of madness. All right, so we'll roll a our first misery, shall we say, and we'll roll a d66 to see what that first misery is, and we get a 3. Of those who build mightily stone by stone, so shall they fall stone by stone. Okay. So that is not super clear what that means, but that will be our first misery. Of those who build mightily stone by stone, so shall they fall stone by stone. Okay. So that's it. Let's just. I think I'm gonna sit on that, and I'm also going to re-roll my omens. And I probably will be missing some rolls, as you can see. There's like a lot of daily maintenance here that I think is more fun if you're playing by yourself and not videotaping here. But oh shoot, this is actually where I would use my Mörk Borg coin. That wasn't a good flip. All right, so we have 2 omens. Those who build mightily, stone by stone, so shall they fall stone by stone. Let's see if anything happens. You know, right off the bat, what I'm thinking right there is masonry, construction. I'm also thinking of maybe like politicians. It could really be sort of buildings, like a building could fall. Maybe that will come into it if we encounter a building. So let's keep our mind peeled there. And as we do that, roll on the weather here. So today the weather is a deafening storm, and so I'm going to have to travel down to 8 days worth of food, and I'm going to have to go through this storm, but likely this may affect different checks that I have throughout the day, and we'll just have to do our best. And the road that we walk on, because everybody knows that the road that we walk on is paved in gold. The road today is going to be, again, a narrow wagon track, so that's probably quite muddy. And you know what though? Did we camp after the foraging? No, we didn't. So we'll keep those details, but then we'll roll the road. So the nightly campsite event is going to be a D12 and a 1. Quiet night. Quiet night. All right, so on day 3, we have this. You know what? Unless I use these, I'm not going to re-roll them, because I don't feel like doing that every day, and the same as omens. I will re-roll them when I use them. So we're on a narrow wagon track. It's raining, and we're on the road. We're going to roll a d20 for events by the road, 15. A few mercenaries and their d8 guards, all infected by a brain parasite. Okay, this could be interesting. And what I find interesting about this, if I roll... So, a few mercenaries will say that there are 5 guards, and 1 mercenary and 5 guards, so there's 6 dudes. And they're all infected by a brain parasite. Okay. And so we know that in all likelihood, we know what kind of situation here, what kind of NPC this is, just looking at this list. But we'll say, we'll ask the Oracle with strong hit, weak hit. We'll say, is this brain parasite causing them to be dangerous? Is this brain I want to make sure that if I hit a strong hit on this question, that it would be a good thing. So if it's a strong hit, they're not dangerous. If it's a fail, they are dangerous. Okay. So we have a 13 and a 16, so that is actually a strong hit. No, they are not dangerous, and in fact, they come up and the mercenary says, "We have something in us," and keeps pointing to his head, and eyes are kind of like rolled back in his head, and he is really, really troubled. They can't like look forward, and they say, "Please, please. Can you help us? Please, please. We have something. It's eating us. It's eating who we are. It's eating who we are inside." I'm going to take a look at the potions that I have here. I know that I have my Elixir Vitalis. I'm wondering if that can do anything here. Heals D6 HP and stops infection, but can be habit forming. And then I have Furner's Filtree, which is a translucent oil, must be dabbed right in the eye. Heals infection and gives +2 on presence tests for D4 hours. Okay, let me ask. If I were to give them this Elixir Vitalis, would I be able to divide it up amongst them so that they all can get a dose that would heal them from whatever this parasite is? So that is a weak hit, just by a little bit. However, I did not... you know what? I'm not using... Is there a modifier with that? Not really. That's just kind of an Oracle question. So, I'd say... I'm wondering here. Give me 1 second to just think up a nagging question that I keep having. Yeah, so if you realize this before I said it, or before I started doing this was probably bothering you. So in my mind, I conflated using these kind of action dice for like an Oracle. I really shouldn't be doing that unless it involves an action of mine. And really, I should be using this if I'm just asking general questions about the situation. Okay, so... we'll stick with this roll for now because I think that works okay, and we'll just say that because this is more of pure probability, whereas this would involve some sort of test. So I think what this is they cannot. It can heal some of them. There are 6 of them total, and of them, it will heal. Well, we'll say 5. It'll heal 5 of them. And so let's think here. This is Mörk Borg. And we'll say, okay, I got an idea. So it says, they say it'll only cure 5. And so what we have to do is the guards have to kill each other. Well, if they kill one of the guards, then the rest of them can have the Elixir Vitalis. And I would say that the guards, even though they have these parasites in our brains, they slowly realize, they say, well, why wouldn't we just kill you? Right? Like we just work for you, right? And what makes you think that you automatically get it and that one of us has to give it up, right? And so pretty quickly, this mercenary, with whatever logic he has left, says, look, if you help me, I will give you a reward. And that reward will be 36 silver. Okay. And the guards say, yeah, but if you kill him right now and give us the elixirs, we will give you something else. Okay. And I say, well, what else is it? And they say, trust us, it's really good. And so I have to decide now if I want to, which side I want to choose. And I explained to these guards that, you know, being a nihilist, neither of these choices really matter, I say. So I'm going to flip a coin. And I say, when I flip this coin, if it lands on a 1, I'm going to kill one of you with this mercenary. But if it lands on a 2, then I will kill this mercenary for you. And before they can even respond, I flip, and it's a 2. And so we are going to engage in combat with this mercenary, who is probably not going to be that fearsome of a foe, because this dude has parasites in his brain. Okay. And so I think we will use the character creation mechanics, and I am going to pause just to whip up a quick mercenary who has a brain parasite. Please excuse me. Okay, what I think we're going to do is we're going to say that this, just to make it easy, we're going to say that this one has a morale of 6. Actually, we'll just use the D12 here. So if we roll D12 3 1 I'm using the monster approaches here, and that didn't work out like I wanted it to. You know what? This is a mercenary, so I'm going to say that we're just going to use a difficulty rating of 12, and that we're going to say that his morale is a little bit lower at a 7, and perhaps we can get him to flee or surrender, which I think you could see where that's going. And we'll say that he has a sword, and so that his attacks are for D6. So we're going to roll a D6 to see who goes first. I roll a 6, and that means that, I believe that means that I have the initiative. Yes. So I will attack first. Now, because he is has a brain parasite, I'm guessing that I can give myself a little bit of an advantage here, even though my strength is -3. We're going to say that the difficulty rating of hitting this gentleman is going to be I also have something to say about the calendar of Necrobell. I think I was misinterpreting that, so I'll fix that too. But so we'll say that if something, yeah. So we'll say that the DR is 10. Okay. And remember, as long as I hit, it'll be at least 1 damage, which honestly, because this whip is D2 damage, it really has to be as long as I hit. My only hope is to get a 2. And yeah, we'll say that his HP is 8. So let's give it a try. So we'll roll against DR10 with a melee attack. Do that. So 14 minus 3 is 11. Good. I hit. And then, make sure I roll on a place you can see so you don't think I'm fudging it. And then we hit for a 1. And so his HP is down to 7. And if roll a 2d6, if it's greater than a creature's morale, roll a d6. So I actually am going to try that right now since I just hit him once. A 6. And that failed because his morale is a 7. So again, now that he is going to attack me, I just will roll my agility, and we'll say that it has to be his roll. Well, not his roll, but this roll has to be over a 12 in order for me to get hit. And he definitely does. It's a 19. And so he will hit with a d6. And he hits me with a 5. And we'll, in fact, say that because I'll take the... You know what? I'm going to give up the shield. I know it's early game here, but that is a real devastating hit. So he hits me with maybe like a flail for a d6. And my shield breaks and I negate that damage. And so we will roll again, and I'm going to do another melee attack trying to get over a d10. This. Perfect. So I got a 20, so that would be a crit, and so give myself a little crit. That is times 2 damage. Enemy armor reduced 1 tier. He doesn't have any armor, so we'll just roll a there. Great. So I hit him for a 4. And so that would bring him down to 3. I'm going to roll morale again, 2d6, see if I can get it over 7. Perfect, a 12. And so he gets on his knees and he says, please, please, please spare me. And of course, I am not going to spare him at all. And so what I will do instead is I'm going to wrap my whip around his neck, and I'm going to tighten it like a nice tie until he turns a nice shade of blue and then drops on the ground. And I'm going to say, okay, so he's gone. What is this wonderful prize that you have for me? And not an occult treasure. Why don't we use... I think there's one thing here that has a bunch of D100 trinkets, maybe? I think is one of these tables. D100 items and trinkets on page 32. So they say, well, you could take whatever he had on him as long as you split it. We doubt that he had that much money because he's a huge liar. And so he has 16. So that means 8 silver. And then we'll roll a D100 to see. Crikey, we've got a lot of dice here. We'll roll a D100 to see if he had anything else on him. We'll do black die for 10s. So we'll do 9. And a piece of moldy bread. Wonderful. So I'll add that to my equipment, and I have a feeling because my encumbrance is only 5 that I will probably be throwing that piece of moldy bread out, and I'll add 9 silver. And here's an interesting Mörk Borg-esque question. Do I give this to these mercenaries? Because I'm not very satisfied with this. You know, potentially I could have gotten 79, but I guess, you know, they would be less skilled, so they probably would have, you know, with a brain parasite, I would probably give them a DR 8, and their weapons would probably do a 4. And there are 4 of them. So let me just see. No, this would be my decision. This wouldn't be luck. You know what? I'm going to play it safe. And I'm going to say, well, this isn't good enough. If you know, I'm just going to try it. I'm going to try to kind of bluff here. And so I think that I'm going to do a presence. Now, I don't think this is like a DR8 because, you know, even though they have these brain parasites, I really don't have a lot of leverage. My presence is quite low. And so I think what we'll say is I'm trying to bluff them, and we'll give it a DR10. And I'm going to say I want something else. 19 minus 3, 16. So the bluff did work. And I will say that I want some silver, and I want another item. And so they will give me an additional 12 silver. And as far as the other item, they'll do 18. A fan shaped like a bear claw. I'm almost wondering if this list of items and trinkets is intentionally worthless. Well, whatever. It's Mörk Borg. I'll take it. So, a fan shaped like a bear claw. Very good. Is that the bear claw cake? Snack cake? I don't even know. So, I'm actually going to drop the piece of moldy bread and take the fan shaped like bear claw. Let me ask my oracle here. Is this fan like usable as a weapon? No. And if you use it as a weapon, it is also not usable as any armor. So basically it is sellable, and we'll say that it sells for 9. Okay, but we got another 12, so we're up to 100 silver. And what the hell, I don't need it, because hopefully I could take a rest tonight. And so we will re-roll our elixirs for tomorrow, and we'll kind of move on. I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna camp, because it's been a long day. So I'm gonna have a little bit of food. Take my food down to 7, and my HP is at full. And we'll do a nightly campsite event. What do we got here? 6. A wild beast, a fox wolverine, steals D4 rations of food. The PC with the highest presence tests DR12 to notice. So I guess that's me. I got to roll DR12 with minus 3 presence. 11. So I don't notice, and so D4 rations have been stolen. So my rations are down to 5. So I don't notice. The beast gets away with it. And just to check, just because I kind of forgot, if I do a night's sleep, that's D6 HP. But if I have an infection, no healing when resting, D6 damage each day. So that would be another day. And I think we're going to do one more day. And I have to admit, I'm liking this. I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. So we will probably come back to this, especially because I have 2 Mörk Borg supplements on the way, and I want to try and roll those into this adventure. So first things first, let's roll the calendar. And what somebody in a comment asked before, why does everyone think that you're supposed to continuously decrease the calendar of Necrobell? And I was like, oh, well, that's what it says to do in the rule book. And I cannot believe this, but no, it doesn't say that anywhere in the rule book. But I was like, where did it say that? I swear that it said that somewhere. Now, I thought that this DR12 meant that determines whether or not a misery gets unleashed. But actually, this is to say once you do the 4 milestones, you roll against the DR12 plus your omens to see if the adventure is over or if you have to add another milestone, which I have to say, what? Because if I'm done with this, I'll just decide whether I'm done or not. It's like I've run out of time and I've like hit all these milestones and then I roll a 6. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I guess I've got to do another one. So that really doesn't make too much sense to me. I'll think if there's any way that we can incorporate that. But the point I'm trying to make here is that the place that this came from was right here. Each time a day passes, remember to roll the misery dice as per the calendar. Start with a die of your choice, no higher than D20, and downgrade after each misery is unveiled. So we would go down now to a D12, and it would be like before if a misery is, if a 1 is rolled, and then a misery is unleashed. So that'll be a 4, no misery. And we want to roll a D8 twice here so that we can see what potions we have. So we have another red poison and another spider owl soup. And again, let's roll up. I'm trying to see, do I have any other upkeep that I need to do here? Okay. So we will roll the weather, and that's a D12. 4. We've had this one before. Deafening storm, another stormy day. And what sort of road am I on? Right here. Oh, that's actually this one right here. Territory. The road today. How's the roads out there, Jimmy? It's one an almost forgotten dirt track. So not a great road, but we're still going to travel, and we're going to roll a D20 to see if anything is going down today. 3. Nothing. Okay. Well, since the road is difficult, why don't we say that I had to... why don't we lead off where we can do next time? Leaving the road after half a day's journey, we'll just say, towards the end of the journey, you encounter D12. 12. A vast bog, precarious to traverse, ruled by a huge, bloated, tentacular thing that claims to once have been royalty. Perfect. So we will lead off there next time. I don't feel great about that session. I know I'm not looking for reassurance or anything like that. I think it was fine. It just felt like I would be able to do this better if I didn't have to switch between all of these resources. And it's weird because when I was playing on my own, I just felt like this was easier. And I think it might have been because first of all, I had a bigger space that I was working in, and so I could have everything laid out in front of me. But it was also, I think, that I was just kind of being automatic with stuff, and I was just talking out loud to myself. And so we'll camp for tonight. And so actually, why don't we just see what the camping is like. 9. A green and terrible moon shines on the campsite. All characters have 1 less omen the next day. That's fine. So I have either 1 or 0, and might as well just set that up now. 1. So I have 0 omens. Perfect. I love this game. So, but we will mark off day 4, and then we'll start with this bog with some tentacled creature. We have 2 days to go until we get to Schleswig. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I just feel like it was fun. I had fun. I'm just trying to figure out, like, like I said before, the risk with playing solo with Mörk Borg is that it does feel a little bit like board gamey. And I know that Daniel from Dungeon Dive says it's what he likes about Mörk Borg. And there's so many, sometimes I guess that maybe there's such a simplified play system, and there's so much space for me, but there's also so many tools that I almost feel like there's too many tools sometimes. And then it's also like the decision between, do I want to roll a d20? Do I want to roll like a d4? Yes, no, maybe Oracle. Do I want to roll like the strong hit, weak hit? And this Occult Herbalist, this was new for me. I had not played this one before. And this is very different from the type of characters that I usually play. Because, to simplify this down, this is like spells, right? I mean, it's not called that, but basically these potions are spells that you have to figure out how to get someone to imbibe, or you have to imbibe it yourself. My character is very weak and has a very weak weapon. But even though I feel the mechanics of it, I want to try again. I want to, punch things up. I do feel like there was like some growth in terms of my solo play on this game. So I do feel really good about that. And it's in no way that I feel like I've like let myself down or anything, but I am feeling a bit of curiosity about like, what was it right now that felt like a little bit over mechanized for me. I felt like kind of, boxed in a little bit, as if I was sort of serving the books more than I was like serving my own scenario. So I'm gonna think on that, but this is really good for me to do this, and I'm only saying all this stuff because I like to be straightforward about this, because I know that people have questions like this as well when they solo play. So I do feel like some good stuff happened here, but it was a little bit. A little bit of it is that I've been sick for a week and I'm just recovering now. So that's probably affecting my impressions of it. But I think we're going to have some sort of realization out of this. And I do think that I'm going to do another session of this. I don't want to spoil the surprise of the stuff I have on the way. I want to show it to everyone when I get it. But let's just say that once the next one of those comes, which I think the first one should be coming within a week, I think that I will. I think I'll play again. So let me know what you think in the comments. Desert Dweller Solo Gaming. I hope it was worth your while, and tell you what, you got me intrigued, so you'll probably be getting more than this one session. And I know we have a fun tete-a-tete, but I really do appreciate having people on the channel that enjoy my content enough to do the equivalent of a comment hunger strike to get me to do it. So Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful night, and I didn't fill you with nightmares. But if I did, just remember, the one remedy for nightmares is to just drink a large glass of warm